Hey everyone, it's been a long time, so thank you for stopping by. Today, I just wanted to go over a tournament that I played in May of 2024, so a couple of months ago, before the summer. And I played this tournament down in Albany, Oregon, and I scored a 3.5 out of five rounds, and I did quite well against some stronger opponents, and I also did well against some lower rated opponents. So I just wanted to recap the games here. I tried to do all of the games in one video just before this, and what happened was it became a very, very long video. It became an hour. So I'm going to be instead breaking them down into five videos here with the 5 different games. So here we have the first game. I'm playing the white pieces in round 1 against Stephen Black, rated 1681, the highest rated opponent I will face today. And I faced that day. I guess I don't know why I'm talking in current tense, present tense. Anyway, so I have the white pieces. This is round 1. We're playing 25-minute, I think, or 20-minute. I don't remember exactly. I think it's 25 plus 10-second increment. 25-minute with 10-second increment. So anyway, I played the move e4 here, sorry, the sound was a little funny there, I think. So let me fix that up. Hopefully it's better now. Yeah, so he plays c5, and I play knight f3, d6, d4. We trade in the center as the open Sicilian, knight c6, knight c3, and a6. So we have gotten into the main line of what is known as the Najdorf Sicilian. Very sharp, and the idea of this is that, I'm going to put my bishop here, my pawn on f3, bishop on e2 or c4, put my queen on d2, castle long, and then shoot these pawns at my opponent and try to checkmate him. Meanwhile, my opponent will play e6, bishop e7, bishop d7, knight c6, or maybe even b5, bishop b7 as in the game, and then castle short. He'll castle short, and he'll shoot these pawns at me and try to kill me. So it's very simple. It's a bloodbath, basically, is what it is. So one of us is going to lose, and it's not going to be a draw, probably. So what do I play here? I play bishop e2. E6 is played. I play f3, bishop e7, bishop d3, b5, as I mentioned. Now, I'm afraid of the move b4 because I don't want my knight. I don't really have a square with my knight. I might have to go to a4, which is quite a nasty move. I would have to play b3 and then get all doubled over here. So instead I play a3, which is a fine move. I think it's actually one of the top moves. So I play a3, bishop b7, queen d2, knight c6 is played, and now I castle. Great. So we have done what I said I would do, as in the setup is done here. And my opponent also plays queen c7, which is a slightly suboptimal move here. I think the computer prefers either rook c8 or to trade in the center over here, or even castles, I guess. But queen c7 nonetheless is played. I play g4. Again, I'm starting to take some space over here and start an attack on the king side. And rook c8 is played. Now, I can actually here get quite the advantage by just playing this move, knight b5. Very, very... I think thematic idea in these positions where there's a pawn on a6 and b5 and 2 knights looking at them, but I must say I did not look at this at all during the game. And what happens here is after pawn takes and knight takes, the idea is queen has to come out because the queen's attacked, right? And I can now trade the queen. I can either trade the queen or I can also play this move g5. And after the knight goes to d7, I can play knight takes d6 check, and the bishop takes and queen takes. And I've won 3 pawns for my knight, and the king can't castle, and I'm threatening to take here. So something like knight cb8 might have to happen. Sorry, that's the wrong knight. Knight cb8, defending the knight. And this position is apparently very good for white because black is very passive, and white has all the benefits of the position minus the material. We're down a horse, but who cares about horses? So that idea does lurk in the position, but instead of that, I just played the move g5, which is also a great move. I kicked the knight back, and then here I played a very bad move. So here you would consider the opponent quite still likes this idea of taking on b5, But you would also maybe consider a move like, h4, to support your pawn, and then maybe play a rook g1 or something, or h5. Or you might even consider a move like rook g1 straight away, which is not quite ideal, but it's not terrible. You might even consider a move like king b1, just a prophylactic move to get out of the way of these nasty pieces over here. No, instead I play the move. Sorry, I played the where is it? Oh, sorry, it's because I've played king b1. Instead I play the move f4, which is quite a bad move, and the reason is. Now my opponent's attack is landing first. After I take, knight takes, and my opponent has all the activity, and since he hasn't even castled yet, I have nothing to attack here. I can play h4, h5, h6 if I want. It doesn't do anything if there's nothing going on over here. So thankfully my opponent misses that, and instead he plays knight takes d4, which is again back in my favor, and now he plays e5. I slide back and we trade here, and now I'm actually much better because I've got eyes on this d6 pawn with 3 pieces. And this d6 pawn is backwards, isolated, and very weak. So, knight e5, blocking the attack on the pawn. And I play rook g1, lining up. I should have played h4, I think, but rook g1 is fine. He castles, I play h4, and now the knight jumps to c4. Now here I have the opportunity to play a move like queen d4, which centralizes the queens. Wow, there's one queen. It centralizes the queen, puts some pressure. Let's say a move like rook e8 is played. There's a chance that I have an idea like queen takes, and I could maybe be winning a pawn here. Though it doesn't quite work in this case because this pawn hangs, or maybe there's some other reason. Anyway. Yeah, so there's queen d4 would be a nice centralizing move. Instead, I just swap off the bishop here for the knight because that knight was quite strong, eyeing my king over here. So instead, I swap it off, and now I offer a queen trade. And then we reach this position after I swap the queens off the board. And this is a critical position because I have only one good move. You can see it in the lines over here above my face. Over here, I have one good move, and that move is rook g3 to defend everything. The move is rook g3, and it looks like this is a move that wins a pawn. However, I have the move b3 now because of the rook on g3 defending my knight. I have the move b3, which now kicks the rook from this rank. It has to drop back, and then I take the knight for free. So after b3, my opponent would have to sacrifice the rook. And then play something like d5 and would be down in exchange, and that would be very good for me. So that's why rook g3 is a good move. That's the way to kind of defend e4 without defending e4. So I could also play something like here, but this is a boring way to defend it. So instead of doing either of those things, I decide, why do I need a pawn? Let me just give it away. Let me just allow bishop takes e4. Why not? So actually here I'd calculated a very interesting line. So I played the move rook e1. I calculated something, but unfortunately I made an error here. So you play the move d5. And here I can play a knight takes, and swap everything off. And after everything is traded, I actually am just down a pawn. I guess even f5 is fine here. And gf6, and f5 again. And I'm just down a pawn, and I'm going to be losing this game because the bishops are of the same color, which means I'm not going to be able to just sacrifice my bishop for the pawn. Anyway, so I could swap out and get into a dry endgame, which I would be down a pawn in, and I would probably lose. So instead, I decide to take on d5. So there is some merit to this idea. The idea is I'm going to take your e7 bishop, and then I'm going to take the rook, and then I'm going to take everything basically. The idea is if you play anything other than the top line, if you play what is it? Oh, if you play here, apparently that's a good move. Okay, let's ignore the first two moves. If you play something like king f8, right? The idea is your pieces are very uncoordinated. So if I take something and you play king here, now look at this. Your bishop is in front of your king. Your rooks are staring at each other. This is like a very, even though I'm down a pawn, it doesn't look like it's a draw. So that's what I was going for. However, I missed a very simple move. I missed rook c2, defended by the bishop. Even though the bishop's hanging, it can still defend, of course, the rook. And now I'm forced to play king b1, and there's a myriad of discoveries here. Now, it's not so simple. If my opponent plays something like rook g2, then I can just grab the bishop, right? And you grab the bishop, and that's fine because remember, I still have knight e7, and this is actually mate here. This is back knight mate because the rook is defending the knight. So it's not so simple. But my opponent is 1680. He thinks for a long time, and he plays a great move. He plays rook d2 check. Now this disconnects everything. If I take the bishop, then I lose my rook, king c2. I lose this. I'm just down a rook, right? I grab the bishop. Sorry, I didn't finish my calculation. I grab the bishop and I'm down in exchange. I'm also down a pawn. This is a losing endgame. Great. You'll see this is actually better than what I got into myself. So instead, you might consider, just moving the king to a2, or just, let's say king here. Then this happens, and the bishop here. You just lose. You just lose the piece, and then you're going to be down a piece. Black has an extra bishop, and we'll just win the game. So instead of that, I did select to sacrifice the rook, and I played king a2. And here, my opponent can play this and then take here, and then allow this. But instead, he goes for a complication with bishop takes g5. The idea of this is if I take, then rook takes d5, he's just won an extra pawn because he's sacrificed his bishop for an extra pawn, and I don't just grab here, right? So instead of that, after bishop takes g5, I play bishop to c7, attacking the rook. Now this is a complication for a number of reasons, and here my opponent took a long time to think again, because let's say he plays rook takes knight. Now you can see that actually just hangs mate 1. The eval kind of gave it away there. So there's back rank issues lurking in the position. So if you play rook takes d5, which is the best move, bishop takes rook, you again cannot take with the bishop because of rook e8 mate. So after rook takes d5, which is the best move, you might consider as white, I want to take the rook because after rook here, I take the bishop, and now actually material is equal except for these two extra pawns. So black is completely winning because of these two pawns. But if not for those, I did a good job. So so that actually what happens in the game. So he plays rook takes d5. I play taking on d8. He takes with the rook, doesn't blunder mate, and then he plays king f1, king f8, king b3, and I'll just roll through moves here because it's a very depressing and dead end game where I'm just there's no hope for me to draw this. He slowly pushes his pawn up the board, improves his king, slides his king up, moves the pawn up, moves his rook out, moves his king back, checks the king again, hides the king on the side of the board, takes my pawns on the other side of the board, rolls down, and here he just force mated me after g3. It's force mate 1. Whether I play king h1 or king g1, it's going to be mate on the back rank. And I just resigned after g3. So that was my round 1 game. This is already a 14-minute video. I think that's quite long enough. So I'll leave you to this. Thank you for stopping by. And do check in tomorrow for game number 2 from this Dan Rogers tournament. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.